Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today I want to kind of come on here and do a little bit of a discussion video regarding the Angry Birds movie 3. I know it's been over a month and a half since they first revealed the film, that it was in production, but I decided to hold off on the news just because, okay, here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Angry Birds anymore. I know that might sound like a weird thing for me to say, especially because I'm continuing, I know all eyes right now are pointed towards the Angry Birds Godzilla show, because, oh, you still keep that going. Yes, I do. But that's only because I have a story to tell, I like that story, and I want to continue telling said story. In fact, if you actually watch the episodes, you realize that there's actually less and less Angry Birds involvement and more Godzilla and mythical creatures type stuff. Whatever, that's a whole separate subject entirely. But over the years, I've just kind of thrown my interest of Angry Birds away. It's just kind of dwindled over the years, and I'm kind of over it. I still have my plushies, but those are just mainly for Tabgus and for novelty, but whatever. So I'm going to be discussing this as, I guess, a former Angry Birds fan. Although I do like the series still, I don't really care for it as much. I still respect it. May I need to ask, was this film really necessary in 2024 or 26 or whenever it's releasing? Because I know it's not releasing in 25. That's way too soon in order for it to complete all the animation. Because we have a voice cast now. We have 2 voice actors confirmed for this. So last month, Sega and Rovio previously announced that the Angry Birds movie 3 would be in development. And all we had was a little teaser of Red doing 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of an updated Red. He's a bit older. He looks a little bit older. But as far as him going doing something special, he doesn't really do anything special. He just kind of flings himself across this with a slingshot, and he doesn't really do anything else. He just flings into the air and then passes by a large 3 in yellow, and then boom, there was movie 3, and then there you go. That's your title thing. Honestly, I don't think that's a part of the movie, although that is very high quality animation. Something to note is that this movie's not being done by Sony. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the company in question, but it's being made by the same guys who animated the Garfield film, which if I had to say, the newest Garfield movie, but not the one with G Louise. I'm gonna be I forget his name. Sorry. The older Garfield film. It's being made by that company, and I've seen a few clips of the Garfield film. I have not seen it, but I've seen a few clips. It is actually really well animated, and I like the slapstick. There's this one clip I saw where just kind of getting all a little off track. That's kind of what I had to do. Where Vic gets run over by a large boulder, and then he just slams into another large boulder, and then he kind of rolls around like a manhole cover. That was actually kind of funny. Anywho, I want to see more of that in this film. Well, speaking of which, do I want to see a third Angry Birds film? Honestly, I want to see it on one condition. If they can bring back Angry Birds Space. I know that sounds like a bit of a weird ask, but here's the thing. Angry Birds Space was one of my favorite games in the whole series. Not only was it creative because of its unique level design before Star Wars came in and just completely hampered it all for itself and just kind of threw space into the limelight, but it also had some creative abilities with the different birds, especially Laserbird. That was always someone who I wanted to get on Tabgus, but never could find a plushie for resale for anymore, because all my Angry Birds Space stuff got thrown out over the years, and this is what remains of it, I guess. But of course, I want to see something done with Angry Birds Space. That was my main complaint with Angry Birds 2, was that it just strayed away from the games too much. The only real game element was Silver, the inclusion of Silver, who appeared in the second game, but also appears in the second movie, but has a completely different design. And I don't understand why they would keep the designs corely of the birds, just updating them to be higher quality and giving them limbs, while they do a complete rehaul on Silver. That doesn't make sense to me. But I'm hoping that for the third movie, they go towards the game route and adapt Angry Birds Space. because I personally feel like there's a lot of different like story elements you can do, like Iceberg. There's this big like villain in space. That's the one thing I want to see. If they don't do that, I'm not interested. I'd like original stories. But the thing is, if you have all these games and all these crossovers, you as a multi-million-dollar company decide to pump out something original for a game series that has had who knows how many games you could pull from. Even if like half of them are copyrighted, you could still do space. You could still do Go. You could have even done Epic, and I would have been happier than this. Not saying Angry Birds 2 was a bad film, but like 3, we know barely anything about it. And personally, I just don't see like again, plot wise, I don't know how else they would do Angry Birds 3 aside from adapting more of the games and less of trying to create like an original story. I like Zeta, okay? But again, that doesn't scream Angry Birds. I don't feel like I'm watching Angry Birds 2. As moment as they stop doing the slingshots and it's the birds versus the pigs, I'm just thinking, why don't they just use this story for another film? Like, this could easily fit with a different narrative. Like, I like the idea of the birds and the pigs teaming up, but it just doesn't feel like Angry Birds anymore. In fact, they aren't really angry in this story, aren't they? So, I'm hoping that for the third film, they decide to... I just realized I never even mentioned who was returning. Josh Gad and Jason Sudeikis are returning as Chuck and Red, respectively. There you go, I just said. Happy to see him back. Anywho, back to the subject. I hope that, again, that they do something with the game, from the games, like Angry Birds Space, and they decide to make that their core plot. There's a lot more stuff you can do than just 3 islands. Trust me, Rovio, I would know. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening to this, I guess, episode of Matthew Mumbles. If you guys like to, definitely subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.